The hospital doors slid open in the dead of night, and what stepped inside left everyone frozen in shock. A massive wolf, its piercing golden eyes scanning the room. Nurses gasped, and a security guard reached for his radio, but the wolf didn't attack. Instead, it let out a low, mournful howl, its body trembling with urgency. One nurse, Clara, stepped forward, her heart pounding. The wolf locked eyes with her, then turned toward the door, letting out another desperate sound. It wasn't here by accident. It wanted her to follow. But how did a wild wolf end up in the middle of a hospital, and why was it acting so desperately? To understand this incredible moment, we need to go back to the beginning. It was a quiet evening at the small-town hospital, with the usual hum of machines and the occasional soft chatter of nurses making their rounds. Clara, a dedicated nurse who had worked there for years, was stationed at the front desk, catching up on paperwork. Outside, the first flakes of snow began to fall, covering the streets in a serene white blanket. Suddenly, the automatic doors slid open with a whoosh. Clara looked up, expecting to see a late-night visitor or a patient in need. Instead, she froze. Standing in the doorway, silhouetted by the dim streetlights, was a wolf. Its thick gray fur was speckled with snow, and its piercing golden eyes scanned the room. Clara's heart raced as the animal stepped forward, its powerful frame moving with both grace and urgency. The other staff members gasped, retreating behind counters and into nearby rooms. "What is it doing here?" someone whispered. But Clara noticed something different. The wolf wasn't baring its teeth or snarling. Its movements weren't aggressive. Instead, it let out a low, mournful howl, almost as if it were pleading for help. Clara's instincts as a nurse kicked in, overriding her fear. She grabbed a flashlight and cautiously stepped out from behind the desk. The wolf's eyes locked onto hers, and it took a step back, then stopped and whimpered softly. "Stay back, Clara," a security guard warned, clutching his radio. But Clara shook her head. "It's not here to hurt anyone," she said, her voice steady but curious. She crouched slightly, trying to appear less threatening. "What's wrong, boy?" she asked softly, as if speaking to a lost dog. The wolf let out another whimper, then turned its head toward the hospital entrance. It looked back at her, as if urging her to follow. Clara hesitated for a moment before grabbing her coat. "You're not seriously following it, are you?" one of the nurses asked, wide-eyed. "I don't think it's here by accident," Clara replied, her heart pounding. Outside, the snow had intensified, covering the roads and nearby forest in a thick blanket. The wolf moved with purpose, glancing back occasionally to ensure Clara was following. She struggled to keep up, the flashlight beam cutting through the swirling snow. The hospital lights faded behind her as they entered the edge of the forest. Clara's breath formed visible clouds in the freezing air. "Where are you taking me?" she murmured. After what felt like an eternity, the wolf stopped near a cluster of trees. It let out a low growl, not of aggression, but urgency. Clara shone her flashlight forward and gasped. There, lying partially hidden in the snow, was another wolf. Its fur was matted with blood, and its chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. The injured wolf's leg was caught in a crude trap, the steel teeth biting deep into its flesh. Clara's heart ached at the sight. "Oh, you poor thing," she whispered, kneeling beside the injured wolf. The larger wolf, the one that had led her there, stood close by, watching her every move. Carefully, Clara examined the trap. She had seen similar ones in her youth, growing up near the woods. It was rusted and brutal, designed to capture and immobilize. "Who could do something like this?" she muttered angrily. She worked quickly, using a small multi-tool she always carried to pry open the trap. The injured wolf let out a soft whine but remained still, as if sensing Clara's intentions. Finally, the trap released with a loud snap, and Clara pulled it away. The injured wolf's leg was swollen and bleeding, but it wasn't broken. Clara tore a strip from her scarf to wrap the wound temporarily. "We need to get you back to the hospital," she said firmly. As Clara turned to leave, she realized the larger wolf wasn't following her. Instead, it stood protectively over the injured one, its golden eyes filled with gratitude. "Come on," Clara urged. "We can help." But the wolves didn't move. Clara hesitated, then knelt again. "Wait, is this why you came to the hospital? To bring me here?" she asked, her voice breaking slightly. The larger wolf let out a soft huff, as if answering her question. Clara's throat tightened. She realized she wasn't just helping animals. She was witnessing something extraordinary, a creature trusting her with its most vulnerable companion. With the help of a few staff members who had followed her outside, Clara managed to transport the injured wolf back to the hospital in a large blanket. The larger wolf paced anxiously outside the hospital doors but didn't attempt to come in. Inside, Clara cleaned the wound and administered antibiotics. The injured wolf remained calm throughout the process, its golden eyes watching her intently. After hours of work, the wolf was stable. Clara sat beside it, exhausted but relieved. "You're going to be okay," she whispered, stroking its fur gently. The next morning, Clara opened the hospital doors to find the larger wolf waiting patiently outside. She led the injured wolf, now able to limp on its own, back to the entrance. As the two wolves reunited, Clara felt tears well up in her eyes. The larger wolf nuzzled the injured one gently, its tail wagging slightly. "You're incredible creatures," Clara said, her voice breaking. "Take care of each other." The wolves paused, their golden eyes locking with hers one last time before they turned and disappeared into the forest. Word of the wolves' visit spread quickly through the small town. Clara's story became a local legend, a testament to the bonds between humans and animals. For Clara, it was a night she would never forget, a reminder that compassion could transcend species and that trust, even from the wildest of creatures, was a gift. Thank you for watching this incredible story of trust, compassion, and an unforgettable bond between a nurse and a wild wolf. Clara's courage and the wolf's desperate plea remind us that sometimes the most extraordinary connections come from the most unexpected places. What do you think drove the wolf to trust Clara? Have you ever witnessed or experienced a moment of trust with nature? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your stories. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing tales like this one. And hit the notification bell to never miss a new adventure. Until next time, remember, acts of kindness can cross any boundary, even between humans and the wild.